All right, well, this is Joint Venture, episode 1. My name is Andrew Karanko. This is
Is that me? Reggie?
Reggie.
Yeah, I'm Reggie.
That's Reggie. His last name
Is Gonzalez.
Gonzalez. Reggie Gonzalez. So this is a podcast that we're just wanting to create, and just to, we wanted to create this podcast just to talk about just anything and everything.
It's literally called the podcast about everything.
Podcast about everything. So today's episode, we want to talk about Infinity War. So, Reggie, in one word, give me how you feel about Infinity War. Just one word. Epic for me. Epic.
That's how you feel. You feel epic?
I don't feel epic. I feel like the movie is an epic.
Okay.
It is.
I would say I feel. It's more than one word. I was gonna say led on, but that's not. I would say excited because it leaves me excited for the rest of the series.
Yeah, it was cool to see how after 10 years how Marvel was able to just construct this story with multiple superheroes, and you don't feel overwhelmed. You just continue to hear, or you continue to see these superheroes just pop up on screen. You don't feel too overwhelmed. You get to see them in different environments, different teams, different squads, whatever, and it's cool.
I mean, it has been 10 years worth of
movies. And Iron Man started it all. One would call him the godfather of the cinematic universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that kind of leads me into my next question is, like, who's your favorite Avenger? Like, before we get into this review, like, I just kind of want to just break the ice here. Like, my favorite Avenger, as cliche as it sounds, is Iron Man, because he kind of was the one that started it all. I am a fan of Iron Man. Just the tech, his attitude, and I mean, he's the Batman of the Marvel universe. Really, playboy, philanthropist, genius. He's
not
got
to
it
quote
all.
the movie or anything.
Yeah, for real. Well, who's your favorite Avenger? Iron Man for me, for sure.
Are we going like MCU?
Let's just go MCU.
Okay.
MCU.
It would have to be Spider-Man, but that's also because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So,
and for them to bring Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a great move by them, and I'm sure everybody in Marvel Studios is cashing on that. So,
I mean, according to Tom Holland, he's already working on another one.
Yes. So, spoiler alert. Tom Holland will be back. Nobody cry too much, but let's go ahead and dive into this review, man. So,
but before we get there, can I just say my favorite comic book Avenger?
Yeah.
It's Frog Thor.
Frog. Okay, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There is a comic book where Thor does turn into a frog, but he's still worthy enough to wield Mjolnir, his hammer.
Have you seen there's another frog that's worthy enough? Yeah. I don't remember his name. I feel bad. I should have researched this a little better, but there was another frog that was worthy enough to hold the hammer.
Once again, comics that we probably have not read ourselves.
Fully.
But let's get into this review. So, Avengers Infinity War, it's been 10 years. 2008 was the first movie that got released in Iron Man, Jon Favreau's Iron Man. So that was a great movie. They weren't too sure how that was going to start, but who knew that 10 years later this would be what it is now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I would say for me, it was an amazing movie, very, very well produced, very well directed. It was just all in all a great movie. Let's start out with the opening scene, dude. I love how within the first 5 minutes they just straight up set the tone of this movie. Like, I'm Thanos.
Fuck you, Hulk.
Nobody can mess with me. Not even a Hulk can mess with me. I love how Ebony Maw, which has so famous to become known as Squidward, and Facebook land, meme land, whatever. It's great, Squidward. But I love how he kind of tells him, let him have his fun. Let him, yeah, he looks like he's getting messed up, but let him have his fun. The Hulk is nothing compared to Thanos, and we all were wondering how that was gonna happen. We knew that was gonna happen. Like the Hulk was gonna come out at some point and try to, exert his dominance onto Thanos, but as we all know, I think Thanos had at that point just the Power Stone at that point, which is enough. It really
Obviously
is enough.
It was.
He was able to, and they don't really go into depth on this, but Xandar, which where the Guardians of the Galaxy in the first movie they left the Power Stone, and they didn't really
With the
touch
Collector.
they didn't really touch onto it too much, but they pretty much said that he destroyed Xandar. So
No, wait, that's not the Collector. Where?
the Collector is from nowhere.
Yeah,
we'll get
nowhere.
we'll get into that a little bit, but
Sorry, I should have been more prepared. I was too busy working on the graphics and focusing on other
which
things.
if you are looking at it now, that is done by Mr. Reggie Gonzalez himself. We are a joint venture, a podcast about everything. So episode 1 is about Infinity War. Going forward, he was able to, pretty much punk out Loki into giving him the Tesseract, and we all knew Loki had the Tesseract.
I mean, would you really call that being punked out?
I mean,
Loki
yeah.
had no choice.
Yeah. You could. It really showed the human side of Loki because
It was die and die.
Yeah. He was basically telling him, I'm going to kill your brother, or give me the Tesseract. And the human side of Loki came out, and he sacrificed, everybody on board in order for Thor to live. So within the first 10 minutes, man, you got who? You got Heimdall, and you got Loki dead.
Not to mention half of all of them.
Oh yeah, which is so sad because if you
As
watch Thor
Guardians.
Ragnarok, their homeland already got destroyed. Like they pretty much sacrificed. They sacrificed their homeland.
They were already down to a quarter of them already,
And
so
then-
now they're
and
down to
then
an
Thanos
eighth.
the Thanos just shows up and said, "Half of y'all are dead," and
Enjoy it.
I love the opening sequence. Opening sequence is great. It really showed you, what the movie was going to be like, and set the tone of the rest of the movie. And going forward, one thing that I liked what they did was they touched on, how Cap's relationship and Iron Man's relationship still is not completely, they're cool with each other, but they're still a little salty.
Would you call them cool with each other? Yeah, he's got the cell phone, but he's like, I'm not gonna call this guy.
him. Yeah. I'm not gonna call him. And not to rush into it, you got Hulk crashing into the Sanctum Sanctorum of Doctor Strange. They're all wondering what the hell's going on, and I love how Hulk Banner comes in. He's just like, oh, Thanos is coming, and it's just like,
I don't know. I felt iffy about Mark Ruffalo being Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
He was
Hey, but the fact that I would say the Avengers Ace in the Hole being the Hulk was pretty much scared the whole movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
that was the
I
whole reason why he couldn't transform.
So
He was terrified because Thanos is literally the only person to just beat him at his best.
So, continuing, just seeing Hulk crash down, and then automatically getting the presence of Doctor Strange and Wong, and then you see Tony come in, and I just love the comedy relief with Doctor Strange. We'll talk more on it, but the comedic relief with Doctor Strange being a wizard, and just everything is just, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Just so everybody knows, Andrew went and watched this movie twice. I've seen it once, and he also took notes the second time, whereas I've just kind of been reviewing things online. So if Andrew sounds far more prepared than I do, it's with good reason.
I am a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Which is kind of why we picked this for our first episode.
and we'll go forward. Reggie and I are fans of a lot of different things. I know for a fact we will be doing a podcast about Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball in general, because that's another thing we're very much a fan of. And future podcasts, if anybody wants to talk, like submit something, maybe a subject they want us to talk about or just touch on, that that's something we can touch on. So, but just right now, Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's a great thing. Tony Stark, you got Doctor Strange, you got the Hulk, and you got Wong, and then boom, shit just starts going south. You got Thanos in the Black Order coming down. You got Ebony Maw, and I think Cole Obsidian, the big Hulk-looking guy who, I think one thing that I was a little upset about is they touched on the Black Order.
They didn't even give him their name.
Right, they didn't.
They didn't call him by the Black Order.
You didn't hear. You heard like later on, like Thanos saying, "I assume the Maw is dead." So I mean, that's Ebony Maw. You got Cole Obsidian. You have Corvus Glaive, and you have Proxima Midnight. So that is the Black Order, but in the movie, they're more known as the children of Thanos. So,
which is weird. Yeah. It's really strange.
He asserts his dominance and just straight up calls him, "You're my child. It's okay, child.
Daddy's got you.
I killed everybody, but you're my child.
Daddy Thanos is here."
So, that sequence when everything just seems to be going south, Doctor Strange then recruits Tony Stark after he just makes a promise to Pepper, basically saying like, no more surprises. I thought that was hilarious, and of course they got to throw that in there. But
I'm kind of curious because isn't Gwyneth Paltrow supposed to be in another one of the movies coming up? Yeah. So is she gonna be? Dude, is it a flashback? Is she gonna be like dead in the future? What's going on here?
I don't know. Like towards the end of the movie, and obviously. This is major spoiler. This is a major spoiler.
I'll have some sort of like hype horn going right now.
A lot of people die at the end of this movie. We really don't know the full extent of who died, but
at the very least, half.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. With a snap of a finger, but
which doesn't make sense because they showed like 3/4 of the Avengers dying.
Yeah, which is really sad.
So much for it being random and indiscriminate.
So. Right off the bat, you have Thanos attacking with Ebony Maw and Cole Obsidian. Love the new Iron Man suit. That was great to watch.
Nanites back in action.
Yeah, and I love how right before he gets attacked, you have Bruce like asking like where did that come from, and he's like, oh, it's a little bit, and it gets nowhere. But a lot of fans theorize that he got that tech from Wakanda, which Black Panther suit.
It was nanites,
it's nanites, which I mean we don't know if that was it. I think Tony Stark is smart enough to get the nanite technology, but I know for a fact that Josh Whedon said that Shuri, King T'Challa, Black Panther's sister, is smarter than Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, which is they also show that in this movie, which is great. She just makes them look like idiots in the movie.
She's also had way more time with the tech too. Yeah.
That's true. So, seeing them fight, that whole sequence, seeing Spider-Man coming into the mix, that was a whole little funny.
His mech suit was dope. Too bad it, didn't really do too much aside from go actual like spider with 8 legs.
Yeah. So,
I was kind of hoping that they'd bring back the talking voice. That was such a big part of
Suit Lady.
Yeah.
Karen.
God, that was hilarious.
And I didn't know that. That's funny that you say that because I did not notice that. You're right. I did not notice that throughout the whole movie. Suit Lady was not present at all. So
maybe they just couldn't bring her back. Maybe she was.
It just wasn't in the budget.
I don't know. Their budget's pretty big. Yeah. They got Disney backing them.
Yeah,
so
seriously. So with it, boom! Right within the first 20 minutes, you got Thanos asserting his dominance over everybody. You got Earth.
Boom.
You got Earth getting under attack by aliens again, which I'm sure they're used to at this point. And you have Doctor Strange, you have Iron Man, you have Spider-Man in space heading towards Titan, Thanos' home planet. And then I love how they slowly transition that to the different quote unquote teams of the movie. You have Team Iron Man. You know, you have Doctor Strange. You have Spider-Man, and then later on in the movie, along with Team Iron Man, you have Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis, and Nebula, and then you move to Captain America. You have the rest of the Avengers, and then Thor.
Team Thor, which
Team
was
Thor.
the smallest team.
Yes,
Had the least casualties, though.
Yes, they did. They did. So you
Groot.
Oh yes, oh yes. We keep jumping forward. It's just so hard. Like man, it's so hard. It's so hard.
I'm also very bad at staying on track chronologically, so please forgive me.
I'm kind of going everywhere. Everybody knows how this movie went. It's a great movie. You have Thor, you have Captain America, you have Iron Man, all pretty much leading their separate teams. You know, I love how they reintroduce the fugitives of Civil War, and then they have Secretary Ross basically being like, I don't care what's going on, or you're under arrest, and everybody's just like, whatever, bro.
And it's just like later, Ross, you don't show up for the rest of the movie.
Yes, and they're just doing their own thing. They know that they got to do what they got to do. They don't really point out the fact that Captain America is not Captain America. They hinted that in this movie he's taking on the character Nomad, which in the comic book, in the Civil War arc, you know, he loses, you know, he gets separated from the American government, and he takes off, you know, his stars and stripes, and he becomes known as the Nomad, which is
except for the fact that he still had the big ass star on his chest, which was kind of like, really, guys, was it that hard?
And then going forward, you see Vision, Scarlet Witch in Scotland, and that was kind of funny. I like how somebody said, I like how there's nobody in Scotland right now. Like, dude, that whole scene.
It's true. There was almost nobody. There was like 2 cars that drove by, like, just enough for them to like crash into, and that was it.
Where are the people at, man? Is it like
they're still all suffering from those bombings, you know, in the 90s?
But being able to see,
sorry about that, Scotland. That was
being
a bad
able
joke.
to see how their relationship transitioned from Civil War to here. You know, they are more of a romantic relationship. Vision has taken on the persona of Paul Bettany, who is the actor, but he has that illusion of a human body. You can't really see the Mind Stone, but
because he's got Bieber bangs.
But all the while,
he didn't. Wasn't it there? I swear you could see it. Like, it was just like.
He has regular.
I swear you could see the stone though.
He shows it to her, but like when they're in Scotland, he hides it. But what I love is how they.
I wasn't paying attention to that, to be completely honest.
I love how they hint the coming danger with him.
Yeah.
Like, he can sense it. He doesn't really know what exactly is wrong, but he does sense something is coming. And then, sure enough, you have Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive attacking them, and then that's when we see, I believe, Captain America, Falcon, and Black Widow just come and pretty much save their asses. They were going nowhere.
Primarily Black Widow.
Yes, and then I love how they made them look like bitches. Honestly, like, I love what Black Widow said. She's like, "We don't want to kill you, but we will." Like, and I like, you gotta know what comes out of her mouth is true. Like, bitch, you best get the step in, or you gonna die.
Although they did kind of, actually no, it wasn't even them. It was Thanos who put those words to shame later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she did follow through with it. They killed all of them.
Yeah. And then eventually, I love how they bring. God, chill out, Reggie.
I didn't even think about that though, but like, all of the main villains except for Thanos died.
Yeah. It's a really mind F, honestly, when you think about it. But I love how they bring in, you know, going forward, they bring in the Guardians of the Galaxy with the nice 80s music. Love that.
His muscles are like, what does she compare him to?
Some alien metal or something like that.
Stop rubbing his arms. Spoken like a true jealous boyfriend.
You know, I feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies they almost stand alone from the other Marvel movies.
Well, I mean, the comic books pretty much stand alone too. Like, they obviously go in whenever Avengers come together, but for the most part, just like every other comic, they're kind of by themselves because they're. How many other comics except for like Thor and a lot of Fantastic Four? Actually, no. There's like whole space dedicated comics, so that's kind of a hard one. But I can see where you're going with that for sure.
I love how director James Gunn, like, it's just, you can just tell when the Guardians of the Galaxy are coming. Excuse me. But we see Thor coming in, him looking almost like a bug on the windshield. You know, that comic relief up the ass with Guardians of the Galaxy, and of course Drax, who is just played by
Dave Bautista.
Hilarious. he's just hilarious. You would think his humor in the movie and in his own movies would get boring, but it just.
I feel like Mantis was a good compliment to his humor too.
Yes, and you kind of always wonder like, what does Mantis really do? But then you see her like really step up in the fights and like
being
really...
one of the only person to really be able to subdue Thanos, which makes sense because she subdued the god lowercase g.
Yeah, for sure. So Thor coming into the mix, and then him pretty much waking up, and the one scene that sticks out to me is when he gets all emotional and like he's like, yeah, my father's dead. My mother died. Got killed by a dark elf. Had to kill my sister, and then like he just continues to go.
What's Rocket's line after that?
Rocket's just like, oh.
He's what is his line after that?
He pretty much Thor says, "I really don't have anything to lose," and Rocket's like, oh, I have things to lose. Like, you know,
looking at Groot specifically, and then looks at his guns.
Yeah. So. Them going, I believe, and I'm sorry, all my Marvel Cinematic nerds. I believe it is Nidavellir, something like Nidavellir. Yes, they traveled to Nidavellir to go. Yes, make fun of the way I say it, whatever. To go, what we now know as Stormbreaker, to go get that weapon, which is quote unquote by Thor standards a Thanos killing weapon, which
I mean, he did kind of one-shot Thanos.
Yeah, he did.
And again, like he should have. Okay, side note on that. Agreed, Thanos. He definitely should have gone for a headshot, but at the very least, he could have cut his arm off.
Something like cut the hand off.
Something.
But you know, hashtag the movie must go on. Like.
Franchise must live.
Seriously, dude.
We need another 3 years, please.
We all know Goku could have gone Ultra Instinct so much so faster before it killed Jiren, but that's a whole nother.
That's next week.
Yeah,
that's next week.
Yes.
Now who's jumping ahead?
We all know this, but getting to see Thor go there and forge his other weapon, that was pretty cool. And then you got to see who played what this character of the big dwarf.
Yeah,
he's in
a lot of things.
I get that. He's
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. I forget his name. Man.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. I just know that he was in there. And this is going to be a small break where I edit out this sound because this is going to make us sound a lot better. Thank you, future Reggie, for editing this. And I'm sorry that I'm not saying much more.
We have, let me see, Game of Thrones.
I'll put in some, like, Jeopardy music. I'm not hitting that high note.
Peter Dinklage, which is also the little guy from Elf. From Elf.
Call me an elf.
Call me Elf
one more time.
Yes, dude. Yes, Peter Dinklage, man. And like, I know a lot of people were excited about him being in this movie, and they had no idea who he was going to be. But a lot of true Marvel fans knew. You know, they probably, no offense to little people, they probably casted him for the Dwarf King, and it was really cool to see him. I honestly didn't imagine him being a giant Dwarf King. You know,
which. I'm going to be honest, that made no fucking sense whatsoever.
Him going there and him seeing his hands pretty much shut together. And
where were the rest of the dwarves if Thanos was supposed to only kill off half?
And I read into that, dude. and it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Thanos pretty much wanted no way for, and this is kind of where you see some of Thanos' downfall. He wanted no way, in no way, shape, or form, for a weapon to be forged against him. So he kind of went against his morals and killed pretty much everybody except for him.
Can you say that a man who wipes out half the
has
universe
morals?
has morals?
Yeah, hey man.
I mean,
that
he's
is
downright
true.
a sociopath.
That is also true. So morals or what or
Lack
not,
thereof.
Yes, he decided to just pretty much kill all of them and leave
Except for one.
the main Kingdorf, Peter Dinklage, with shut metal hands. But the plot must go on, the movie must go on. Of course, we know that all the knowledge is up here in his head, and he is able to forge the weapon with Thor.
And
so,
oh my god, that was probably the smartest line Thor has had in any of his movies so far. Everything is up here.
Oh, yes.
It's like, wait, what did you say?
Yes.
That actually makes sense. Oh my god.
And then meanwhile you have, Cap and all the rest of the Avengers trying to figure out what to do with Vision. We all know that Thanos in the Black Order is coming for the Mind Stone and is coming for the Time Stone, which is on Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange is still on the ship, so they're trying to figure out what to do with Vision, and I love how they introduce Wakanda. They're just... I feel like you almost got to see Black Panther before you see this movie. Black Panther...
You do really need to see Black Panther.
But the funny thing about Black Panther, dude, is it stands alone from all... Like, it's not necessary... It is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's not really... They don't really tie it completely... It's its own movie.
What about, how...
They do throw some references in there, but, like, there's no Infinity Stone. Everybody thought that the Soul Stone was going to be shown in this movie, and, like, I love how...
just because there's a bunch of purple blasts everywhere.
Eric Killmonger, I loved
Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
Great actor.
A villain that you can almost sympathize with, but obviously he went down... He was taking it a little bit too far, but... You could definitely understand where he was coming from, and I love how they totally getting off in a tangent here, but the way he died, like, that was epic. Like, he just said, I'd much rather, what did he say?
Bury me out at sea with my ancestors who would have rather jumped off the slave boats than died.
Yeah, because a life in bondage is not worth it, basically. So he's like, screw that. I'm just gonna, throw me out. Yeah, I love that. That was great. Black Panther, great movie. Don't necessarily need to see it before Infinity War, but very suggested because
it explains a lot. Yeah. Like if you've seen all the other movies except for Black Panther, they would show up and you'd be like, I mean, I kind of get this because they've already shown Black Panther in Civil War, but then you're just kind of left there wondering, like, who the fuck are these other people?
And then you have them coming into Wakanda. You have everybody getting reintroduced, and not to we kind of forgot the awkward reintroduction of Bruce Banner and Black Widow. That whole awkward introduction.
Oh yeah.
Their romance kind of dwindled after he kind of just decided to go into space and become the Hulk for 2 years, not Bruce.
Well, is that really a decision? Because Bruce said that he even said it himself. He had no choice.
Yeah. So this reintroduction of Hulk into everything, in all aspects of the movie, everybody was definitely surprised to see him, and also definitely surprised to see the Hulk pretty much being a bitch and not wanting to come out. But we have Vision. There we see Shuri pretty much asserting her intelligence over Bruce Banner, pretty much, asking him, like, why didn't you do it this way? And he's basically saying, well, I didn't think of that. And I love that because they're showing that she is definitely the smartest, probably the smartest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Definitely.
So the whole I call them. I think I wrote it down. It's like different battle sequences.
Speaking of writing it down, where are your notes?
Yeah, hey, they're all up here, dude. They're all up here. I got it.
Okay.
I got it. So going from here, dude, we have different battle sequences. We kind of established our teams. We know that before Star-Lord Drax and Mantis showed up on Titan, they were also on their mini mission to go to nowhere to try to get the Reality Stone. That whole sequence was crazy, because I remember first seeing it.
Block Drax, Ribbon Mantis.
Yes, my visceral reaction was like, oh, holy shit! Did he really? Did he really kill Thanos? Like, come on, no, come on. And then, sure enough, dude, I didn't even like. I feel embarrassed for saying that I didn't see this coming, because like I just see Red start disappearing, and then you start to see the actual reality. You see the Collector waving goodbye as it's
that was
by.
Genius, by the way. That was very well shot.
Yeah,
just great scene. It looked amazing.
Yes, it was definitely.
I'll be honest. I definitely thought that, like, right when she stabbed him, I was like, "Oh shit, it's not him. It's the Reality Stone." But before that, I was in it. Yeah. I was in it fully.
And then, of course, you have Drax' hot-tempered attitude, and then Gamora should have went right. All that stupid shit.
I told you to go right.
And then the whole sequence of when he was about to kill him, what does Thanos say when he turns the bullets into bubbles?
I like you, kid.
I like you. I love that. I freaking love how he said that.
And
he pretty much just
when he said that, I remember turning to Mel and saying, "He's got Dad's approval. That's good."
Before we get into the final battle sequences, you see Gamora, getting taken by Thanos, going on his ship. And you pretty much see Thanos. And before all this, just to preface this, you have a scene where you have Gamora and Star-Lord in their ship, and she's basically pulling the oldest trick in the book. I'm the only one that knows the location of the Soul Stone if it comes down to it. Very cliche thing. Kill me. I'm the only one that knows. We all knew that wasn't gonna be the case.
Oh yeah.
So. Fast forward, she obviously doesn't get killed by Star-Lord. We have Thanos with her on the ship, confronting her about the fact that she knows where the Soul Stone is at. And I love how pretty much Marvel just kind of shit on everybody's theories on where the Soul Stone was at. Because, like, everybody was wrong, bro. Everybody was
Especially
wrong.
when it came to who was guarding the Soul Stone.
Yes. That's a whole nother thing. We're about to get into that. We see Thanos trying to get, humanely as possible, the information of where the Soul Stone is.
Would you really call that humane? Well, he has his daughter levitating Star Wars style, by the way. Totally stolen from Star Wars. If you go back and look at it, it's almost the exact same scene that they have Rey in.
Well, I meant before he got there. He was trying to avoid that.
He already had her strung up.
Well, in his defense, she was going to go kill him. But I mean,
like, she totally could have. He could have just thrown her in a cell, as opposed to like, oh yeah, this is my daughter. Let me pull you apart piece by piece. Which, by the way, it's fucked up that he did that in the first place. That he made her a robot for losing to Gamora, and then uses that to torture her.
Dude, in the comic book, in the Infinity Gauntlet series comic book, he poured acid on her. So definitely. The MCU kind of spared us a little bit. Like, he poured acid and tortured this. Like, dude, I don't know who wrote these comic books back in the day, but they were
back in the day. They weren't even that long ago.
Dude, the Infinity.
There's been a lot of reiterations of it.
Yeah, but this one was one of the first ones where the original snap of the fingers was introduced, and the Marvel kind of saved us a little bit.
As you said that, chills snap.
So. Eventually, obviously, we see Thanos getting the location of the Soul Stone, which is on Vormir. And, you go through the regret, like, I'm sorry I had to do that and everything. Red Skull. So, once again, before the fighting scenes, we get that great scene of Vormir. And I loved everybody's reaction in the theater when you see the hooded guy. You just see him... just there, and then you see Thanos step in front of Gamora, like, who is that? And then
you just see Red Skull.
I remember telling Hannah, my awesome girlfriend,
Mel is my fiance,
that everybody just was like, Red Skull, holy crap, Red Skull. We have not seen the Red Skull since the first Captain America movie when he grabbed the Tesseract and disappeared.
By the way, worst Marvel movie in the MCU,
Oh,
hands down.
dude.
Hands down, worst. Dude,
It's
even
cheesy. The cheese level is pretty high.
what
He could have survived. We all know he could have survived that plane crash. Like,
he did survive it.
oh, I guess, dude, by
He
freezing like a freaking damn popsicle.
I mean, what else would you do if you were a mile under the ice in Antarctica?
That's true. I'd probably die, honestly.
And he survived, so.
Yeah, but I'm not a genetically altered human soldier. I'm a fat brown guy. So
Speaking of which, whenever him and fucking Black Panther run off into the battle,
yes. I thought I was the only one that noticed that because you have the super soldier serum running through Captain America's veins, and then you have the heart-shaped herb running through Black Panther's veins, which essentially gives them the exact same thing. They got superhero strength, so they're just like chopping it.
which kind of brings up the argument: who would win? Who would really win if they have that much speed at the same level? Does that mean their power's at the same level? So would that mean that if they were to like go head to head? I know this is
honestly, man, I just love Black Panther.
I'm
dude.
just I was about to say I think it would
love-
be Black Panther as well.
Because, honestly, just because of his swagger, dude. Just like he just like has to like think about his suit turning on and it turns on. Freaking Captain America doesn't even have a shield anymore, bro.
But he doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's true. He
Get
doesn't.
this man a shield.
Get this man a shield. I love that.
I wasn't even gonna attempt the accent.
Yeah,
I
I
would.
know, dude. So, we see the Red Skull, and that's obviously a freak out moment for everybody. And then we find out we all kind of knew the Soul Stone was gonna
I kind of
something.
I kind of didn't expect Thanos to cry at this point though.
Dude, they
I
humanized the shit out of Thanos in this
Like
movie, bro.
I expected him to be very like torn about this and to have like show a moral dilemma, but not at the level at which he would tear up.
I don't like how Gamora was like, "Oh, this is what you get, Thanos. This is that." Like, come on, like you gotta be smarter than that. Like, obviously he's crazy. Obviously
He wouldn't. Yeah.
But she had to have known that. Like, I love somebody pointed this out. Like when the Red Skull first appeared, Thanos steps in front of Gamora and
Puts his hand out to
protects
protect
her.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. So like that is something that some people might miss, but that I feel like they kind of dropped the ball in that little scene where she's just
it's
like,
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's complete
no,
foreshadowing.
No, just I didn't like the way she was just like, this is what you get. I knew this is this and that, and I'm just like, and thinking in the background, like we're all thinking it, like, bitch, like
You're gonna die.
you're gonna die.
You're gonna
yeah.
die.
And I love how Red Skull was like, those tears
aren't
aren't
for
for him.
him.
Yeah. Yes. And then we ultimately see Gamora die, which I think
I don't think she's dead.
Well, here's the thing. I know
She's a part of the Soul Stone.
Well, yeah, that is something.
She's definitely a part of the Soul Stone.
Yes,
because
you
that
see
area
the end-
at the very end,
Yeah.
that's him passing through the Soul Stone.
I just know that Kevin Feige did release a statement saying that some of these deaths, and not to completely spoil. Obviously, we're gonna spoil what happened at the end, but we're gonna get to that. But not all the deaths are
strange.
going to be permanent. Not all of them are. Some of them are.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're all living in the real world. This is a fictional world. We see that Spider-Man. We see that
Colorblind Vision. Colorblind Vision is coming back. They're gonna bring him back with the nanites. He's not dead. He's coming back sooner than everybody else. I'm telling you, it's a thing.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. I
You've heard it here. It's probably not the first place, but you heard it here.
So Thanos gets the Soul Stone. That's a pretty epic scene just to see how he gets that. And he then sets his sights onto
Titan.
to go get the Time Stone. And obviously we know at this point, with awesome pop culture references, we're able to kill a pretty powerful foe, which I think is hilarious. But they gotta do that, Shout out to Alien, and that was great. Love how they do that with Spider-Man. It's funny. So we get that whole sequence. We get the sequence where we see Strange and Stark go at it a little bit, and him saying, what does he say? He says, "When it comes to you and the kid, I am going to protect the stone at all costs, even if you all die."
Yeah.
Like he drew the sand. He drew the line in the sand.
Total foreshadowing. I'm calling it another prediction. Stark sacrifices himself in the MCU because that's why he was saved.
Yeah. So we see them crash on there. We eventually see, like I said, quote unquote Team Iron Man. We see Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis, and Nebula eventually join them and take on Thanos. And I don't really, honestly, just for the podcast sake and the time, I really don't want to get how much of a bitch move Star-Lord did.
Oh God,
I don't want to get into that.
That was stupid.
I don't want to get into that.
That was anyway.
But one thing that I tell people,
I don't want to get into it, but I'm gonna get into it.
One thing that I tell people is Star-Lord from the beginning, from Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, is a emotionally driven character. What the hell do you think was gonna happen when he found out that Gamora was killed by Thanos? Like,
it's also partially due to Nebula kind of goading him into it. Yeah. If Nebula would have just kept her mouth shut, not said a word to him, they could have gotten the gauntlet off, and everything would have been cool.
Okay, so right here, no more. Star-Lord's a bitch. We all get it.
Chris Pratt, we love you.
We do love you. Hey, man, you're awesome. Can't wait to see you in Jurassic World, but dude,
can I get some tickets?
Use a bitch. We're not talking about this anymore.
I'm kidding.
So obviously, it doesn't work out. We get to see. I love seeing Doctor Strange pretty much deploying all his mystic powers. He has those bands. He has the freaking multiplying bodies. And
Except
everything.
He should have used the time stone from the very instant in which they started trying to take off the damn gauntlet.
Oh, another thing we forgot to touch on before the battle even happened. I love how he did use the time stone.
Oh yeah,
over 14,600,000 outcomes and only one.
Tony Stark
did they win.
Sacrifices himself again.
Again, Reggie foreshadowing, possibly.
I'm not foreshadowing. I'm not that good.
So
I'm just predicting.
Obviously, we see Thanos almost getting defeated, but ultimately almost killing. And like Reggie just keeps saying, we all had that oh shit moment. I know my girlfriend did. She almost was in tears when Tony Stark got stabbed. Like, we all saw that and we were like, oh shit. Like,
and then I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. And one thing that I've pointed out to a lot of people, and one thing that Reggie keeps touching on, is you see Doctor Strange pretty much drop his resolve and just say, listen, spare Tony Stark's life and I will give you the thing that you can kill us all with. Like, that's essentially what he did.
Yep.
And I love what he said, and I love what some people have compared this to. Think of a chess game. You sometimes have to sacrifice your pawns. You have to sacrifice certain things in order to get to the end game, which is ultimately checkmate. I love what Benedict Cumberbatch said at the end of the scene. He said, "We're in the end game now."
Yep.
So he knows. He knows. But of course, in good Marvel fashion, he's not gonna reveal his what's gonna go on. But I love what he said. Thanos pretty much kicks everybody's ass. You have Tony healing himself. He instant transmissions. Shout out Dragon Ball.
Also, small detail that I was very appreciative of every time, except for like maybe one or two scenes, when they show Doctor Strange's hands, they show him with the scars still.
Yeah. That's just little details, and I love that too, dude. Because it shouts out to everything that he went
car
through.
Crash and the fact that he has to still use magic to move his hands.
Doctor Strange, great movie. Y'all need to see that too, if y'all have not seen it. But for him to just pretty much say there was no other way, we're in the end game now. They kind of had to understand. Tony Stark, genius. He had to understand that maybe that was the only way. Once we see them cut from there to Wakanda. They probably had some discussions in between that time. We don't know, but then we go to Wakanda, where in Wakanda we have the invasion of the Outriders attacking Wakanda, and we have the remaining Avengers attacking them. And then I love I love when Thor actually forges his weapon, standing in the star, and then he shows up like
Double bicep pose like Arnold.
He shows up like an absolute badass, ready to take some
God
names.
tier Thor. He
Yes,
is God tier Thor
Yes,
almost.
Like-
He's if he's not at that level at this point, he is getting
Once
there.
again with the comic relief, Mark Ruffalo taking off his thing, saying y'all are in trouble. Y'all are in trouble now. I love that.
And then
Hashtag Mark Ruffalo, King of Spoilers. I love that. I don't know if y'all know this, but this fool a year ago let it out that everybody died in this movie. And honestly, did not pay attention to it a year ago.
For real?
Yes, dude.
You got to show me this.
Yeah, right
pause
now.
it. Pause it. We'll pause the recording. Show me this. Again, thank you, future Reggie.
I'm glad to see that you're walking. You walked in here. Thank you. Last we saw of you, you were not bad shape. Yeah, you over the hump. It's semi-bad. I'm just saying. You're here for lunch. It's the meeting. It's amazing. It's Marvel. It doesn't end that well. Is that? Marvel. It doesn't end that well. Somebody always bites or gets really badly. Wait till you see this next one. Everybody dies.
No, not this fool goes. He goes.
Dude.
Not everybody. Yes, dude. Mark Ruffalo, you're an asshole. You are the
No,
king
I don't
of
know if-
spoilers. And Tom Holland, dude.
Tom
Holland's
Holland.
crazy, dude. Doesn't know. He's a kid though. All right. So hilarious.
Him and Mark Ruffalo aren't allowed to do
Dude,
live recordings
Just
anymore.
honestly, the comic relief of this whole movie, great. Not overpowering. You got Drax being an idiot.
Maybe that's why they wrote Mark Ruffalo's character as such shit.
Yeah, he was
That's
pretty
why.
much,
Maybe that's why they made Banner so shitty, because they're like, oh yeah, you want to tell everybody what's gonna happen?
that's what you get, dude. But you have all the shit going down. Thor comes down with Stormbreaker, pretty much whoops everybody's ass. And like you said, the children of Thanos all dead at this point. You got Ebony Maw killed by pop culture references, like we said. Funny, great, whatever. Moving on. Then we have Proxima Midnight getting killed by a.
I don't even know what to call that. The
Dude,
giant,
I don't know. She
fucking
got
twisted,
her she got her
giant
ass
twisted metal.
she got her
spinning
ass
wheel of
handed
death.
to she got her ass handed to by Black Widow and was thrown into her demise into like a spinning wheel of death, and she
I
died.
don't know what the fuck to call that.
And then you got big Cole Obsidian going up against the Hulkbuster, which we all thought. I thought at that point the Hulk was gonna emerge, but
I was
nothing happened.
really hoping that the Hulk would emerge and
So-
just use the Buster gloves.
Yeah, so did I.
That'd
But then
been badass.
it is also pretty cool to show them that Mark Ruffalo or just Bruce Banner can hold his own. You know,
True.
he's a genius. He knows how to wield the Hulkbuster armor, and ultimately kills Cole Obsidian.
Also, they made a really good reference to the fact that he is completely aware as to what's going on while he's in
Yeah,
Hulk.
dude, the Hulk got punked. Like he got punked. He got his ass handed
I'm talking
to
about whenever he's in the Buster suit and he
Oh,
goes,
yeah,
"It's
yeah.
just like I'm the Hulk
yeah,
again."
Yeah, he knows what's up. And then you have Corvus Glaive dying at the hands of Vision, which is cool to see. And then we get into the
Oh, that heart
The
wrenching
last scene,
final
dude.
scene.
last scene, man. Last scene. We get Thanos leaving Titan with the Time Stone, coming to Wakanda, and you just
My heart still hurts a little.
you automatically feel the presence of Thanos when everybody's just like something's coming. Like they can feel before he even came, they could feel him. Yes. Yeah,
Bow,
yeah.
chicka, bow, wow.
So he shows up, and it's just like, "Hi, I'm Thanos. Like, I'm here to mess shit up and kill half the universe."
Hi, I'm Scroto Chin Doomsday.
Oh man, and then I don't know why I keep saying I don't see these things coming when it's just so obvious.
Hold on, time out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see Vision and you see Scarlet Witch, talk to each other, making that whole, kill, destroy the Mind Stone, and
Of course that wasn't gonna
dude,
happen.
yeah, I don't know what is with me, dude. Like, Of course, the time stone. He has the time stone now. That fool just goes up to Scarlet Witch, pets her. He's like, "Oh, it's okay, child. We don't have time to cry now," and just winds time and kill. Poor Vision, bro. That fool dies twice.
Yeah.
That fool dies twice, man. Like that has to suck for him.
And that's why he gets brought back before everybody else.
Hey, we'll see.
I'm telling you, they're gonna pour nanites into him, cause like you said,
But
he already had the smartest
But is Shuri
person.
alive? Is Shuri alive?
Oh, Shuri's alive.
Yeah, Shuri's alive. I know that too. Yeah.
He had the smartest person in the world working on him, who already understood what to do with him.
Yeah.
So I mean, and she gave a better way to make him.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on.
She knows what she's doing. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will come to fruition. So we see Vision die for a second time, and out of nowhere, and you think who, like, just off the top of your head, you think who is the most powerful Avenger? You automatically think, the Hulk, just because he gets angry, he's whatever, that's his MO. But Thor, he's a freaking god.
God tier right
Yes,
now. He is definitely God tier.
Shows up out of nowhere, bro, and just puts that
One shot Thanos.
right
One
in the chest. Right in the chest, dude. And for plot reasons and everything, obviously he didn't chop off his arm, didn't go for the head, whatever.
Should have gone for the head.
Yeah. So, at this point we have Tony, we have Team Iron Man up in Titan, just trying to figure out what to do next. We have everybody pretty much they defeated the Outrider invasion. They
Yep.
did. Thor coming. He was destroying the ships and everything.
That was the turning of the tide of that battle, Thanos was the turning of the tide of that.
Yeah, ultimately they were essentially winning, and then Thanos just shows up and just says, "Hold my beer," essentially
watch this.
Dude, that fool was just waving the glove like a freaking symphony, bro.
He's a wizard.
He's just going back and forth, just making everybody look like a bitch. Sucks for War Machine. He's already crippled, and that fool just what does he do to him? He crushes him.
Yeah.
In him.
It's well, is he going to be paralyzed from the neck down now?
Seriously, dude. And then you see Thor coming down, pretty much, dude. I know at that point I was like, damn, wow, that I didn't see that coming, and I knew something was about to happen, and then sure enough, you hear Thanos say that iconic line that everybody knows: "You should have gone for the head," and that fool snaps his fingers, and he accomplishes his mission. He won.
Also, speaking of accomplishing his mission, I feel like the reason in which he embarked on this was possibly the weakest reason that they could have given.
Which is
just finite amount of resources.
Yeah.
He has the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
He has the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Why not make more resources?
Hey, Avengers 4. That's why, dog.
I feel like they could have, instead of killing off Lady Death.
Oh yeah.
They could have
in Ragnarok, because that was the whole premise. That was his drive in the comics.
Yes.
To make. And they even say, I love how they even do it in the first Avengers movie when they tease Thanos. His henchman basically says to challenge them is to court death, and that fool just stands up and smiles because he wants to impress Death. It was just foreshadowing that whole thing, but they never really went forward with that. But that's basically what
they.
It would have been cool if they went that way, but I do also like the direction they went in this movie and almost humanizing him. Kind of making him like.
For those of y'all who can't see this, I'm rolling my eyes right now.
You ever see those memes where it's like this guy, it's this guy standing at a table, and it says something very controversial, and at the bottom it says "Prove me wrong." There's a guy standing out there, and his face is cropped with Thanos, and it says Thanos did nothing wrong. Thanos did nothing wrong. Fight me on it, and everybody gets into this big conversation. Obviously, we're not here to promote genocide. That is not right. That is wrong. Wrong. I'm telling you, wrong. So.
Good impression. No, it wasn't.
So, Thanos snaps his fingers. He disappears. The gauntlet's all messed up.
But it wasn't destroyed.
No.
It wasn't
And
destroyed,
I
though.
like what you said about Gamora being into the time stone, because when he snapped his fingers, Soul Stone. Sorry about that. When he snapped his fingers, they went into the scene where he looks like he's in like almost like in the Black Panther movies when he's in the Soul Realm. It was almost like that, and I'm pretty sure they'll tie it into where it pretty much is the same thing. And he sees a young Gamora, and I love what she says. Like, did you do it? And he says yes. And what did it cost? And he says everything. And you flash back to Thor still having Stormbreaker in his chest, and they're just trying to figure out, like, what the hell did you just do? And he just backs out into the time stone, and then you just start seeing people drop, bro. I think at first it was a Bucky. Bucky. And then it was Black Panther,
Or wait, Bucky or the White Wolf.
Yeah. Oh yeah, White Wolf. Yes. And then something that I just looked into, or Reggie pointed out to me, the last words of Groot when he says "I am Groot."
Also, his only words throughout the entire movie.
Obviously, but right when he was about to disappear, he gave one last "I am Groot," and James Gunn, the director and one of the writers for Guardians of the Galaxy, released that it was actually in the script as Dad. Dad, and he was referring that to as Rocket. So, because we all know that in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Groot sacrificed himself, but essentially, had a spawn. Essentially, he had a kid. This other Groot, the baby Groot, he budded. The baby Groot that we see in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, totally different Groot. Then obviously we see him turn into a teenager. So the impression of the father figure was from Rocket.
Totally.
So,
but then would that make Star-Lord his mother?
Something like that. Like you see him like bossing him around the whole movie. But that's a heartfelt moment. But we continue to see people disappear, and then we fast forward to Titan, which, I mean, probably my girlfriend gets annoyed how many times I watch this scene, because no matter, it never gets old. Spider-Man, R.I.P. dog. Like, I miss you already, man. Like, that was hard to watch. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you follow my Instagram, Kronko91,
not a plug, actually shameless plug,
not shameless plug, but I just posted a picture. In Iron Man 2, you have the Hammer drones controlled by Justin Hammer, and they go haywire, and you see them attacking everybody. You see a little kid standing in front of one of the drones, and essentially he's dressed as Iron Man and is going to fire a repulsor. Obviously he can't do anything, but you see Iron Man come behind him, fire his repulsor, save him, and he proceeds to tell the kid, "Nice work, kid." That has been confirmed that is Peter Parker. We can go into like different things, like we wish that would have been the same actor, this and that, but that has been confirmed that's Peter Parker. So like you see in this picture Tony Stark kneeling to a young Peter Parker saying, "Nice work, kid," and then the next one you see Tony Stark hugging Peter Parker, and you hear the iconic quote, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Mr. Stark,
I don't want to go." And
good.
Shout out to Tom Holland. This is probably not going to get to Tom Holland, but I don't care. But shout out to you, bro. You deserve an Oscar, because I heard that was improvised.
Yeah.
The director said this is what is happening, and that dude just went up there and delivered one of the most heartbreaking moments that I've ever seen in a dude. My little brother. I took my little brother the second time to go see it. He looked at me and it was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Yeah." As a tear was rolling down my eye, I was like, "Ah."
I don't know how old you guys are, but same feeling whenever I first saw Old Yeller. Same feels were brought to life there. I'll do it when he takes the gun and goes kill him.
And the way
the
way they do it is, how they just disappear into ash, and the Infinity Gauntlet shows half, and going from there, it literally ends. It just ends. The movie just ends. You think you see Captain America kneeling down, and all he says is, "Oh my God." So going forward, we just have to just see what happens. You know, we have a lot of speculation, and I know. Did you stay for the ending scene?
Oh yeah,
Okay, obviously,
Captain Marvel. the
Captain
next
Marvel.
movie.
I love. For all the nerds out there, if you had seen it, if you've done your research, Captain Marvel is going to be a movie taking place in the 90s. You're going to see a younger Nick Fury. Love how when Nick Fury was getting out and you started seeing shit go wrong, and then you saw Maria Hill disappear. He shuffles for what looks like a beeper.
It was
from,
a beeper.
from the 90s.
It totally was a beeper.
I love that. I love that. Like, they're letting you know, like, hey, like, it is taking place in the 90s. And then the iconic Sam Jackson mother effer, man. It's a Disney. It's a Disney movie. It's a Disney movie. This ain't no Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
This ain't no Pulp Fiction. We ain't gonna get the full mother effer. But I love how Disney just for comic relief, you know, you started seeing Sam Jackson wither away, and he almost had it. And he just disappeared. Love that. So going forward, man, this is going to be an awesome thing to see unfold. We have Ant-Man coming out. Then we have Captain Marvel. And then just 1 year. They're not even making us wait 2. 1 year, we have the next part of this iconic epic known as Avengers. So we don't know the title yet. It's
Finale, too.
Yes.
Which they said they would announce the title for it after Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
it's going to be cool to see Ant-Man too, because I did hear that Ant-Man takes place it takes place right alongside Infinity War. So we could
so we'll get an explanation as to what happened.
Yes,
okay.
we could possibly at a teaser to the secret ending to Ant-Man, we could possibly see some people disappear.
I'm also gonna say this. I'm predicting that Ant-Man's gonna die and Wasp will be taking his place in the next Avengers.
No, the thing is Ant-Man is confirmed to be in Avengers 4. And
Fuck.
Here's another thing.
I should have looked this up.
Before we
Sound
end,
like an idiot.
it's okay. Here's another thing. Before we end, I predict Ant-Man is going to have a big role into saving.
Literally or figuratively?
I mean, a little bit of both. We all know he can grow up to 65 feet if you've seen the trailer. No pun intended. Anyways. Definitely Ant-Man, I think, will have a big role in the next Avengers movie. I don't think we need to get into it, but if y'all want to do y'all's own research, there's rumors about some time travel maybe being introduced. You know, you have in the first Ant-Man the whole idea of the quantum realm. You know, that could be
how he goes back.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really know, but I do think Pym Tech, you know, Paul Rudd's character, he's really going to play a pivotal role into bringing back the Avengers that just disappeared. So, yeah. Hey, man, this was our first podcast, and I thought it went pretty well.
We are an hour something deep right now.
Hey, didn't mean for it to be this long, but I hope y'all enjoyed. We're going to continue to make more podcasts like this and just continue to go forward. This is...
I promise I'll say more in the next one.
Yes. And this is... once again, my name is Andrew Karanko.
I'm Reggie Gonzalez.
And this is Joint Venture, and we will see you guys...
Oh, wait.
One time.
Again, in case you forgot from the beginning, next week we are definitely covering the Dragon Ball universe.
Yes.
I have been a big fan of this for a long time, and this one you will not hear me shut up about.
Well, we will see you next time. Y'all have a great week.
All right. Bye.